I have a Goodman AC that just quit. The outside unit fan is not spinning. Help. It is 98F here.
Welcome to Just Answer. Can you visually take a look at the condenser fan capacitor?
JACUSTOMER, yes, it is just under the panel.
Will, I am in the Midwest, I know it is miserable.
JACUSTOMER, the capacity is a 2 inches diameter and 3 inches in length, right?
Will, yes, that would be it. There should be another large one for the compressor. Can you see on the top where the wires go, if it is bulged out or a small circle is bulged out? Or if any of the wires have vibrated off? Go ahead and look around for the obvious wires hanging, anything with a smoke-looking mark on it or near it. I will continue to type while you check things out. Can you tell, is the compressor running and the fan not turning, or is just the fan that is not turning?
JACUSTOMER, I only see one capacity 2.5 inches diameter and 4.5 inches long. It is called ultra-met capacitor. The wires seem all okay. The entire thing is under a closed panel, so there is nothing outside that can touch it. The compressor is not running either, dead silence. The only thing I figured out is that the relay does work. It is a coil magnet that goes on and off when the thermostat is turning on and off. The power into the unit is good. I don't see anything obvious. The unit is only 5 years old and should be under warranty, I think.
Will, so your relay is picking up when it calls for cool. Yes, Goodman should have a 10-year warranty.
JACUSTOMER, I'm pretty handy, so you think I should call Goodman, or is there a part that I just need?
Will, so you have thermostat voltage to the relay, so we could have a bad condensing capacitor. 75% of the time that damn capacitor fails. If it does, the brains of the unit notes no fan and cuts the whole thing off.
JACUSTOMER, I only see one capacitor though.
Will, is your high pressure line, the smaller one, frosted over or iced on it?
JACUSTOMER, no, the copper lines are all clean. I had the AC off when I noticed the problem.
Will, one capacitor could be possible, but your dimensions are sort of small for a dual-rated cap. What they do to cut costs is to have one capacitor on some models. On one side it runs the fan, the other side it runs the compressor.
JACUSTOMER, correction. I turned the AC off when I noticed the fan not turning.
Will, that was a good idea. I know it is hot, but still good for you. http://www.2myfots.com/hvac.html. Take a quick look at this site. It is about diagnosing as problems with only your AC.
JACUSTOMER, okay. Thank you anyway.
Will, it could be you are low on Freon, it could be the capacitor. I would check for warranty, and if you just want to try something, try leaving it off for 10 minutes, then replace the capacitor S. After 10 minutes, turn it back on and try it before buying capacitors. Let the pressures equalize, it might start back up and limp along. Make sure the condensing coils are clean. If dirty, it could have shut down on the high pressure switch, which if you are handy you can jumper around it. It should be on the small high pressure line. Look round and probably black with 2 spades and 2 wires. There will be another low pressure switch which is on the larger line, and you can jump around it also. With the AC off to the outside, is the fan blade tight to turn? If so, it is bearings. Does it have excessive play in the shaft side to side or up and down? Move the fan blade around and feel it. If it feels loose or tight, the condenser fan motor has bearing problems. Also, if you are real damn careful, you can turn the unit on after 10 minutes and see if the fan will start with a push when the contactor pulls in. Relay.
JACUSTOMER, the fan turns very easily and evenly when moved by hand, well screwdriver to reach to it. I don't see any pressure switches around.
Will, but be careful, it is not real powerful, but if you could get some help and give it a spin, if it will spin freely, then hit the fuse box.
JACUSTOMER, the capacity has several set of connections to it, make it a little intimidating.
Will, they will be on the lines inside the cabinet. Turning the fan with a screwdriver will not tell you enough, you have to remove more panels to be sure. Yes, your capacitor is a dual rated cap, almost positive. Most, if they are for just the fan, only have 2 or 3 wires on them. You can mark the leads with colored tape, note which side they come from, and which is on which terminal, probably 4 terminals on the capacitor. How clean are your outside coils or fins, all the way around? If they have not been cleaned in some time, it could be they are blocking air. You can use a garden hose. Unit off to rinse the dirt out of them. The AC tech will use a torch to burn them clean, but hosing them will help a bunch if that is the situation.
JACUSTOMER, you think I should go get a capacitor and try it out? There are nothing else I see easily replaceable. I don't see any burn marks anywhere. The coils are super clean. And there are no fin damages either. The fact that it does not run at all means something electrical is bad. You sure there are no fuses or reset switches around?
Will, if the relay is moving when the power is applied, it leaves things to a bad cap, bad condenser motor, because everything else is clean. So it would not block air. You could have a slow leak, but it is impossible to know. Maybe the inside air is not as cold as usual. Over time it finally leaks to a point where there is not enough gas to run the compressor, but the odds are a capacitor. Cannot say for sure, but most of the time when one just shuts down, the cap went bad. If not under warranty, they will hit you for $200 or more just for a cap, which you can buy at Granger's or Johnstone's for probably $50 or less. But with all the heat, everyone has been gigging the prices. But a new capacitor will not hurt anything. It will make the motors run better, so not really a waste of money, and about the cheapest part you can easily try. You may have tail fuses on the disconnect. What model of Goodman is it? If there are 2 fuses inside and outside the disconnect, can you test them with an OHM meter? There is normally no resting device in the condensing unit, but I will check if I have the model. Have you left it off for 10 minutes and tried it again? It might take 20 or more dependent. If it starts up, it still needs attention, but again you might be able to limp along.
JACUSTOMER, the model is CLT361B, very hard to tell, very faint letters now. I just turned it on again, no movement or noise at all.
Will, http://www.expertappliance.com/goodmanac.html. I understand. Let me look, and you can look at the Goodman parts. The relay is a possible failure, it can pull in, but if the interior contacts are worn, it won't conduct electrical to the fan or compressor. Also, there might be a time delay. Small black unit. It prevents the unit from starting up after just shutting down. If you try to restart right after a shutdown, the unit is trying to start against a high head pressure and can mess it up. Sometimes they put them on more expensive models, and a good thing to add if you don't have one. So we have a bad relay, bad cap, bad fan motor, low gas, and under real rare situations a bad compressor, but the most likely is the cap, relay, time delay. How about outside fuses, any in the disconnect?
JACUSTOMER, no fuses. How do I process the warranty? Do I call the original installer or Goodman themselves?
Will, http://www.alpinehomeair.com/related/goodman_condensing_install_instructions.pdf wiring diagram page 7. Original installer will be faster. That is odd, no outside fuses while code may not demand it, most put fuses on the outside disconnect. When that relay clicks, does it hum at all? If it does with an insulated screwdriver and being real careful you can see the part that moves in it is plastic you can push with a stick or something insulated to make sure it is going all the way in but be damn careful. Just touching the part is no big deal, it is if you slip or jump or something and get into the live electrical. Did you check the filter door for a safety switch? Some models have them and the B1 is one model that may have one. Most of the time it is the cap. If you see nothing else, the relay is not humming, most likely the cap.
JACUSTOMER, the relay hums, touch it with a screwdriver you can feel the thing is live, slight vib.
Will, that could mean the relay is bad, but the problem is if a cap is bad, the relay keeps trying but the cap won't turn the motor, but it should not hum. Will, but you are narrowing things down.
JACUSTOMER, I found the old owner's records. The cap was replaced once and the fuse was replaced shortly after. I cannot see the fuse anywhere though.
Will, do you have any idea what I mean by jumping the relay weight? If a fuse was replaced you have to find and check it.
JACUSTOMER, I cannot hear the hum really. But I can feel it when touched with a screwdriver.
Will, oh okay, that might not be too bad, hard to describe hum, you would feel a little with a stick or driver, but that fuse is bothering me.
JACUSTOMER, I can, just the relay, just need to be damn careful that's all. I have house wires 12-gauge wires that is insulated. You think I should try it?
Will, it has to be a control side fuse. Not real big funny the cap was replaced and then the fuse, maybe the cap was bad and stes the fuse.
JACUSTOMER, I don't know where the fuse is. There is nothing around I can see. It should be on the outside unit right.
Will, sure if you know it is simply a switch you jump with large enough wire to handle the current, 12 gauge is fine, I am looking on the diagram for the fuse location. http://agape.northernplumbing.com/partsbreakdown/goodman-mfg/clt.pdf.
JACUSTOMER, do you need the diagram number? It is on my cover panel backside. JACUSTOMER, I will try the relay now. So keep typing.
Will, if you look on the last link it has a breakdown for your model. Nowhere in the parts list is a fuse, not saying there is not one, but it would not be the first time someone charged for a part that was not there. In the old days they always put a control fuse on the control circuit, nowadays they cheapen everything.
JACUSTOMER, funny, I was just thinking about the same thing, the housewife may not know what was going on. I just jumped the relay, nothing. There is power to the relay, sorry of course because it is shaking a tiny little bit just to feel it. So where do we stand now? More, one repair bill says the condensate spelling. Switch stuck. Unit off on condensate safety switch. This should mean something.
Will, just for grins, although it should have nothing to do with this problem, go look on the control board in the blower unit inside for an inline fuse. It is a long shot but we are desperate here. I say you have power to the relay, you jumped it, no help? The transformer on the inside might be shorted and supplying voltage but not enough. Have you looked around in there and smell for anything that smells electrical? Yes, the condensate pump is what pumps the water out to the drain. It has a switch so if the pump stops, it does not flood the indoor unit with condensate. Got any water on the floor that never was there before? You can look at the safety switch and even jump it too. If the transformer is bad, it should stink. So time to go inside and look around at the indoor unit, first for a fuse on the main board, then for a burnt transformer, then find the condensate pump. The switch should be near it. If you could measure the voltage at the fan and the compressor when the relay is in, it would tell us a ton. But the condensate pump switch should stop voltage to the outside. Check and recheck all the simple stuff, door covers, all that. Half the time in situations like this, when it is hot as hell, we tend to look past something simple, human nature.
JACUSTOMER, just check the condensate pump. It worked with a slight tap on the box. The inside unit control panel is behind a cover, so I need to take the screws off.
What do you mean it worked? You tapped and the pump came on, or the whole thing came on? The drain pump kicked in but still no AC. I turned the AC off and opened the panel, but there is such a mess of connections I cannot discern anything or what to look at. Open the inside control panel, automatically shuts off power. I need to put it back on and try again if the drain pump was the problem. Wait for 5 to 10 minutes. Still no AC and it is 95 F, well cooling because it is 9 p.m. and dark outside. Did you say if the drain pump safety switch was the problem, then there should be no power to outside relay? And we do have power outside. So the drain pump was not stuck to begin with. I just happened to kick it in when tapped. Will, okay, yes, the door switch shuts it all down, so good plan. The condensate pump was in fact not working. And you freed it up so now it runs, right? I will hang out, give it a good 10 to 15 minutes to equalize pressures. We don't want to fool ourselves by having the high pressure switch causing the problem now. It would be a real timing miracle if you tapped just as the pump came on. There should be no condensate in the unit, maybe some in the coil tray, but it would be a real weird thing if you tapped it just at the moment it came on. And if it is coming on, something has to tell it to. The way it works, or supposed to, is the water or condensate flows and turns on the pump. So where did all the condensate come from? Water on floor anywhere?
JACUSTOMER, I shorted the drain pump safety switch as well. Just control wires, and I connected all the 4 wires together. No water on the floor at all. The repair report says the safety switch was stuck, so maybe I freed the switch when tapping the thing. Are you saying that I should wait for a while to try again and we'll know if the drain was the problem? But we know we had power to the outside, that says it cannot be the drain pump.
Will, not necessarily. If someone rigged the safety circuit to on the condensate pump to allow maybe the hot side and earth ground, who knows, it may still allow voltage out there. What we don't know is what is the voltage value?
JACUSTOMER, I don't have a meter to measure the voltage. The only thing I have is a cheap 9500/DC continuity light which glows red when there is power. So the power is higher than 90 VAC, I think?
Will, I would be looking for a place to get parts, unless you know one. Remember, these places close at 12 on Saturday, or most of them. Worst to worst, I would get a relay and both capacitors. One diagram shows and lists a dual value cap, the other shows a dedicated cap for the fan and one for the compressor. I would get it all, one relay, 1 or 2 caps, and I would find a way to grab that fan and find out if you have radial motion. It can spin freely, but a worn sleeve bearing will let the shaft move to the side. If you will, it might work until it gets hot and swells and then lock up. So we need to know if the fan motor is suspect also. In that case, maybe just a new fan motor and cap.
JACUSTOMER, just a question. One of the service invoices say replaced fuse in service discount working. Is there a fuse somewhere else?
Will, the control voltage should be 24 or 12 AC.
JACUSTOMER, I meant to say the power to the replay should be higher than 90 volts because my meter glowed.
Will, if you look at every breakout of that model, there is no fuse listed. Service disconnect is the outside switch with a handle and should have two, so the service disconnect is not part of the Goodman unit. It can be any brand, but it has to mean the outside unit. The inside unit should have like a light switch. That is not called a service disconnect.
JACUSTOMER, so the technician from Poust Incorporated. Fooled the former First Lady of the house. I won't use them anymore then.
Will, I got y'all on the glowing meter, but the voltage to the relay should be low like 12 or 24 the norm. Hard to say when your meter will light and at what voltage. I wouldn't put too much into the glowing lamp. Go put it on something like a car battery, see how it glows then you know it glows at 12 volts. I have seen so many stupid, criminal service techs, not worth raising blood pressure over. But again, the car battery is DC but should tell us something. If it don't start, I would get the caps and relay, put the caps on first, or cap, leave the relay in the box. If it starts with a new cap, you can return the relay, put in the cheapest parts first.
JACUSTOMER, I understand you now. The relay is powered by 12 or 24 and I do see those wires. The lamp test was on the main power wire, big thick gauge wire. The lamp goes on when the disconnect is on and lamp goes off when the disconnect is off. I think we do have the power to the outside unit, okay?
Will, I doubt any hardware stores have these parts, they don't around here. Makes sense, you have the high power 240 volt from the disconnect, the relay takes the 24 volt signal and lets the high power flow to the condenser fan and compressor, so either the relay contacts are all worn and not letting the control signal through, or it is, but the cap is open, shorted, or both and the fan won't start. If the cap is bad and you spin the tan by hand and it takes off, it should spin in either direction, it has to go the correct direction. But one way to tell if the cap is open is if you can hand spin it and it takes off whatever way you push it. The cap puts the start winding out of phase with the run, creating rotation. When you spin it by hand, you are acting like the cap by providing rotation until the run winding takes over.
JACUSTOMER, I just tested the main power again in the dark, and I know the power is no more. Now I am not sure if the power was ever there because the glow thing is not that great and I could have just seen it in the sun, which fooled me. Really sorry.
Will, there should be an interlock circuit that has to sense there is a condenser fan or it shuts the compressor off. Running the compressor with no fan to push the air is real bad on the compressor. Lot of interlocks and safety switches in these things, but they are all basically in series. Open one section of the path and the power stops there.
JACUSTOMER, when I shorted all 4 wires between the condensate pump switch, does not do anything good or bad.
Will, no biggie, I know what you are going through.
JACUSTOMER, so now there is no power, what does that mean? I mean there is no power to the outside unit, what does that say?
Will, actually they should not be bundled like a lamp cord, probably 2 for the hot side and 2 for the neutral side. They cannot be all jumped in a lump, 2 may be to the switch, 2 for power, but there should be pairs. I would say you need to pairs across form each other, not all 4 together. Now back to the main power and no light on your meter. It bugs me they keep talking about service disconnect fuse. Service is utility power. Some cheap ones fuse one leg, good ones fuse both. Maybe they replace the service disconnect with a non-fused switch, another cheap trick, but they keep talking about it. Anything at all in front of the disconnect? The breaker is not tripped, right? No main power. Follow it back to the inside unit. It should feed out through the wall from the inside unit. Maybe they fused it inside. That would be stupid, but I would not trust what anyone did before me. Look at it logically. The 240 is fed from breaker to inside unit, then routed out to the outside unit. Normally there is a disconnect with 2 fuses within arm's reach of the outside unit, but no fuses in there, so is there a fuse somewhere else? Those big wires should be fairly easy to trace.
JACUSTOMER, the main power breaker is okay. I turned it off and back on just now to be sure. I restored the condensate pump safety switch to the original connection. Sorry, should not have lumped them together.
Will, notes, 1, seasonal energy efficiency ratio 2, energy efficiency ratio at 80 degrees Fahrenheit / 67 degrees Fahrenheit inside, 95 degrees Fahrenheit 3, when matching the outdoor unit to the indoor unit, use the piston supplied with the outdoor unit or that specified on the piston kit chart supplied with the indoor unit. 4, note, 20 of a model designates electric heat quantity. 5, EEP, order from service department. Part No. B13700738 or new solid state board B13700735S. Part No. B13700738 is not interchangeable with B13700735S. The Goodman gas furnace contains the EEP cooling time delay. For the CLT36 model.
JACUSTOMER, I think I have some useful info for you. Now the AC thermostat is off, and there is power again outside. The meter glows now. This is really getting to me.
Will, maybe the high pressure switch closed, or unbundling the pump let the power come back. But it still just hums out there?
JACUSTOMER, okay, this should help us now. The power light, my cheap meter, goes off when I manually push in the relay. Let go of the relay and the power is back on. I think the hum is just saying the 24V power is in place and is responding to the controls from inside. The relay is fine.
Will, okay, makes sense. You have your meter on the big leads, you push in or the relay pulls in, your meter goes out. On the big leads, that means it is a volt drop, so the power is being used up but nothing is turning, like a short circuit. At a short circuit the volt drops to nothing, used all up in current. Most likely if the fan and compressor took off, the light would stay on. Sounds like a capacitor. You did a damn good job. For no more tools than you have, you do get it. And what is the most likely component to fail a capacitor on either fan or compressor? You can take the cap S with you. A Johnstone should have a capacitor tester. Granger's has not much. You gotta pretty much know the part number, but any HVAC supply store should have a cap tester setting on the counter. They can easily tell you if it is a dual cap or single. So can you? It will say 1 microfarad rating for a single cap, and it will have 2 rating for a dual. It will read something like 30 oof or 30/90 oof, one side on the dual to the fan, the other to the compressor. The latest breakdown shows 2 caps for that model Goodman, 1 up for the fan and 1 lower for the compressor.
JACUSTOMER, well, so I will get some caps. You think I need the same cap? Or any cap with the same values would work. The capacitor has the ratings on it. It is actually a 6-cap package, so you can wire things in series or parallel to get various numbers. It seems the Technic just from 2 caps to 1. I will mark all the wires really well before I take things off.
http://agategate.northernplumbing.com/partsbreakdown/goodmanmfg/clt.pdf. Will, if there is 6 caps, he did not have the correct value capacitor. Capacitance adds in parallel. 91B94575300 capacitor, dual section, 35/5/370, M1, M2, 91B94577200 capacitor, dual section, 45/5/370, M3, 91B94577400 capacitor, dual section, 50/5/370, M4, 91B94575900 capacitor, dual section, 55/5/370, M5, 91B94578800 capacitor, dual section, 60/5/440, M6.
JACUSTOMER, do you know the cap values for the fan and compressor? I have the schematics now, but it does not say what the value is. Actually, all the wires are in good color coding. BR mean brown, R mean red, BL mean black. Smart people got this all figured out.
Will, dual section means, for example, 35/5/370. That means one section is 35 oof, the other is 5 oof, and the voltage rating is 370. M1, CLT 24 1BM2, CLT 31 BM3, CLT 36 1BM4, CLT 42 1BM5, CLT 48 1BM6, CLT 61B. Yours is a M345/3/370, so the fan is 3 UF at 370 volts, the compressor side is 45 UF at 370 volts, you can use one dual or one for each. See how the charts work? 370 is a standard voltage rating for oil-filled run capacitors. I would try and get the OEM dual value cap.
JustAnswer, I think I have enough info to give it a shot tomorrow. Where can I get these things? I would get the OEM part for sure if it is available somewhere. Okay. I need M3, 45/3/370 dual value cap. If this does not work, I will get 45 375 and 3 370 and get enough jumper wires to make connections. Wait, I don't need jumpers if I have the right caps.
Will, look under HVAC supplies in the local phone book. A Johnstone supply is probably the best if you have one nearby, or any HVAC supply shop. Some HVAC supply houses don't sell retail, so tell them you're with John's Air Conditioning or make up some name. Johnstones will sell to anyone.
JustAnswer, for the fan 3 microfarad, it is between brown and yellow. For compressor 45 microfarad, it is between red/purple tied together, and what is Herm on the chart?
Will, you have to look at the schematics. Some of these motors have towed dedicated wires for the caps, but others you don't really have jumpers. The power is brought to one side of the cap with a run lead, and the other side has a start lead by itself, and the other side of line is common.
JustAnswer, I have to say you are a very smart man, thank you for being patient with me. One last thing, do you have a Goodman cap PN for this? The OEM dual cap part.
Will, thanks, but I wish we could have got you going tonight. Don't know how many dogs and kids you have, but if too hot I would check into a motel. Let me look. Part No, description, B9457530 capacitor, dual section, 35/5/370, M1, M2, B9457720 capacitor, dual section, 45/5/370, M3, B9457740 capacitor, dual section, 50/5/370, M4, B9457590 capacitor, dual section, 55/5/370, M5.
JustAnswer, wait, is it 45/5/370? Not 45/3/370.
Will, B9457720 capacitor. Good question. Where did I get that 3? Let me double check.
JustAnswer FSHMO 1, your typo earlier. Don't worry.
Will, my bad, they are all 5 blind, I guess.
JustAnswer, the thing in my machine is this Turbo 200. http://www.americanradionic.com/content/view/30/46/.
Will, just drop me a note in the morning or whatever, it should let me know you are looking for me. If you get in trouble I have to do some crap tomorrow for part of the morning, then I will check to see. Plus everyone is having broke down AC and everything else, so they are begging me to get on here as much as I can.
JustAnswer, The Turbo 200 has the following values, which gives at least a 5 and 45, using 20 and 25 in parallel. Thanks a million.
Will, oh, I see the OEM cap is not in there. It is one of those universal add up the capacitance you need by jumping the taps to the correct values. John Stones carries some brand of multi-tap cap, not sure if it is the same brand, but if it is available it might be easier to copy what you got with another multi-tap. But you should probably try and start now, either Google local HVAC supply houses so you have a plan on where to go tomorrow.
JACUSTOMER, I found Johnston in 3 miles from me. I will let you know how things go. Thanks again.
Will, good luck, they are very helpful, take it with you, model numbers and all, they should get you the right caps in some format. But they close at noon, maybe 1, but when they close, they close. Check in tomorrow and good luck tonight. Appreciate the kind words. I see nothing, I have no alerts, so what is going on? No alerts all Saturday morning.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit JustAnswer.com/YTHI.